Oh. MedBix Webcast is a new kind of healthcare media channel to break the silo mentality and foster interdisciplinary thinking. Our mission is to fill that gap and to create a curiosity through different lenses, tapping the passion that guided the historical figures in medicine and bringing present-day groundbreaking research to the front lines. We interview physicians and leaders in the industry about present-day healthcare challenges on our live programming. Hey, this is Ramana Anam Just let me hold on. The new things came in. Hey, welcome to the MedBix Webcast. This is Ramana Anam I'm the host of the MedBix. Yeah, last week I messed up a little bit. I missed a lot of scheduling. Sorry to Verena Brown, Dr. Jelligam, and Susan Davis. I'm going to reschedule them next month. So it was a last minute scheduling with my good friend, Uppuluri, is going to come in soon. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Today's program is, I tell you, the guest is a very fascinating guest. Before I introduce him, the topic is going to be psychedelics. There's a tremendous research going on in the psychedelic area. If you're in the mental health area or something interesting going on there, we got to pay attention to it. So the CEOs of the hospitals, the doctors must pay attention to. There's a new kind of research coming up. So anyway, that is about psychedelics. Then I'm going to talk about the science behind the psychedelics. Then now I'm going to introduce you. I'm a physicist by heart. Okay, I love physics. So one of my dreams was that visiting Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Oak Ridge is a suburb of Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where the Manhattan Project was. All the physicists dream to go to Oak Ridge. Okay, so no question about it. So I happen to know Ram. Ram was contesting elections in Tennessee one time, and I bumped into him. So we became friends. After that, 25, 30 years ago, we became friends. So he contested a U.S. Congress election, actually. So after that, he's a lawyer. He's a Princeton. He went to Vanderbilt Law School in Nashville, and then he worked for several administrations. But I don't want to get into too much politics. But I tell you, he is the greatest guy, one of the great guys. So I went to visit him. When his mother was alive, I told you in my description, is that his father is from my hometown, close to my hometown, like 20 miles from my hometown. We speak same language, and then we own same tribe. And then his mother is from Japan. I don't know. So they met it's a very ironic, right? So the atomic bomb that made it in Oak Ridge, they put on the Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan. So it is a very ironic, But anyway, without further ado, my good friend Ram Uppuluri. The name is Telugu, but he is a mixed race. I'm going to bring him onto the table. Okay, 1 second. Give me. Hey, welcome to the MedBix Webcast, Ram. We have the same name, Ramana, first 3 letters at least. Ram, I know you for a long time. Tell us your background, to the audience. What do your journey up to the point, what did you do?
And what? Hey, Ramana. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on your program. I think you have a really great program. I listen to it as often as I can, and I get a lot of interesting insights into your wild imagination and your very inquisitive mind. So I'm here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, in the house where I grew up. My father, like you said, he was a mathematical statistician on the staff at Oak Ridge National Laboratory here. And my mother was from Japan. She was from Kyoto, Japan. And they met at Indiana University in graduate school. And I was born there at Indiana and at Bloomington. And in 1963, they moved here to Oak Ridge. And I ended up growing up here in this quirky little town in the middle of the beautiful rolling hills and mountains of East Tennessee, this little scientific community that had gotten its start as part of the Manhattan Project, where the enriched uranium that went into the Hiroshima bomb was actually produced here in Oak Ridge. After the war ended, this became a real center for nuclear studies, nuclear energy research and development. Health physics was a field of science that was developed here. And my father was a mathematical statistician interacting with many different scientists from many different disciplines. And I think my parents really enjoyed growing up in this little town. So even though we're a suburb of Knoxville, Tennessee, because there were so many scientists and so many engineers from all over the world that came here to work and to study, it was a eclectic kind of place to grow up. Kind of like a little bit like a college town in a way. There were plenty of working class friends and neighbors, but alongside engineers and PhDs and people who were participating in the internet. Science is an international enterprise, and so there were always a lot of cross currents, a lot of influences from all over the world coming in and out of Oak Ridge. That's the kind of environment that I grew up in. We went to the public schools here and graduated from Oak Ridge High School. Go Wildcats. And I went to Princeton University for my undergraduate. And after Princeton, I wanted to come back to Tennessee. So I started my career actually as a newspaper reporter. My internship, I did one internship here at my local hometown newspaper. And then I started out as a full-time reporter at the Nashville Tennessean in Nashville, which is the state capital. And the Tennessean is the morning daily newspaper for the state of Tennessee. And, I was always interested in politics and learning more about how politics works. And when you're a newspaper reporter, I mean, of course, you do a lot of daily reporting. I covered the police beat for about a year and a half. But you slowly get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes at the local level, at the state level, and even at the national level. And we had several very, effective, very smart members of Congress and the United States Senate at that time. Jim Sasser was one of our senators, and Al Gore, who later became the vice president of the United States, was our junior senator. He got elected in 1984. So, I worked my way onto the staff of a congressman named Jim Cooper. And after that, I worked on Al Gore's Senate staff. And then I went into the Clinton administration during the Clinton-Gore period. I was at the United States Department of Energy for a few years in the mid to late 90s as a political appointee. I was in the Office of Congressional Affairs there. And our job was pretty much to take the budget that was developed by the administration and try to get it passed through the Congress and build support for the budget priorities of our team, the Clinton administration. Of course, after the 94 election, the Clinton administration was dealing with a Republican-controlled Congress. So, politically adversarial, but that's the art of politics, is to find that common ground and to try to get what you need, those pieces of your agenda that you need, without, violating whatever the principles are that the majority operates under, to try and get to agreement. That's not always possible, but that's always the goal. And at least in my experience coming up through, Tennessee Democratic politics, which I enjoyed very much.
So let me ask you a question. I think I can see you. I hope we can together two people. Yeah. No, I don't know why it is there. I need to turn it off. This one. They did a little bit of a, yeah. No. They changed the little bit structure. You need to be a little bit of a, just be patient with me a little bit. I know why they did that. I don't know. I'm changing. Just to give me 1 second. You don't mind? I hope I didn't take you out. Are you there?
I'm
Yeah,
here.
you're there. So
Mhm.
let me, this is why this is need to be off. I don't know why they did that. Just maybe I have to take it out. This is okay. Let me put this. As always, this is a big challenge in the technology. Still, we're in the beginning stages of technology now. As you know. Okay, yeah, we need AI badly. Okay, let me take this one out. Actually, remove it. Remove, delete it. Maybe delete it. And I see that maybe we can see together. Okay, something strange. Um, why it is? I wanna know. They made it extremely complicated, mouse. Yeah, that. Okay, why they do that? And okay, yeah, but I don't know why they did that. So just be pair with me a little bit, if you don't mind. They changed the entire software. I didn't see that before. It is yeah, yeah, that is a little bit of a change that I'm trying to understand it. I don't know why it is doing. It's asking. But anyway, let me continue. This I need to find out what is going on here. These are all they're putting new together. Yeah, maybe this is better a little bit. Maybe this is better. Yes. Okay. At least something better than nothing.
Okay,
Okay. Sorry about that.
that's
This
fine.
is this is a, they I don't know why they changed a lot of things here in the all of a sudden. This is the first time I see all this new stuff. But anyway, that is part of the challenge of the technology, I think. Um, yeah, I can't do anything about it. I don't know why they add the source, and I don't want to add source. Oh no, 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 no. Okay, but anyway, there's just I'm having a lot of problems. Yeah, they don't let me even go back to the original scene. Yeah, maybe that's. Okay, let me see. At least it's better than nothing. Yeah, sorry about that. I wanted to ask you questions about a little bit about your. I came to your town and I met your mother. She passed away last year, and then she is 90 years old, and then your father passed away a while ago. So you moved back to after you spent a lot of time in Washington D.C. and then you moved back to Oak Ridge, right? And then you're
Yeah.
going settling and back. Your son lives in Washington. Just tell us a little bit about the your trip between the Washington D.C. and your present place, Oak Ridge.
Well, I came back to Oak Ridge in 2022, almost 2 years ago now, to take care of my mom. Her health was declining, and she really could no longer take care of herself alone in the house. And for older people who are, she was suffering some signs of dementia, and she had some chronic back pain, and it was really difficult for her to take care of herself alone in the house. So a lot of families are put into this position. I'm finding out it's really not uncommon at all. People come home to take care of an aging parent, and I stayed with her in this house for about a year. And toward the end, we went in and out of assisted living to see if that worked, and ultimately she was put into a hospice program, and I put her into like a nursing home, and she passed away last year in June of 23. So after she died, I decided to stay here rather than go back to Washington. I have this house that I need to take care of. I had to settle her affairs, and I kind of took advantage of the opportunity to take a break, from what was going on in Washington. My last job there, I was working for the D.C. Council. I was the committee director for the housing committee for the D.C. Council, and it was those jobs are tough jobs. We had just come through the COVID. It was a really tough time. We were spending a lot of emergency federal funds to keep people housed, people that weren't able to make their rent payments. There was federal funds were available to help offset the loss for landlords. So the idea was to keep people housed and keep landlords whole as much as possible during the pandemic. And as we were coming out of the pandemic, there were still tremendous backlogs in the court systems. There were landlords hadn't been able to turn over their properties or even collect all of their rents. There was a lot of uncertainty about what was going to happen with the real estate markets. Downtown had pretty much died because the downtown offices, nobody was coming into the office in Washington, D.C. during the pandemic. So all of those lunch businesses, small businesses in the downtown area had just gone under. And they still really haven't fully recovered from the effects of the pandemic on the economy of downtown Washington, D.C. So
Very.
even though,
It's
so it
very
was a
strange
very,
in Washington D.C. We live a long time there.
yeah,
Monday to Thursday, they're always busy. Then all of a sudden, everybody's gone, and Thursday night it's just empty up there. Only
yeah.
local people walk around.
Mm-hmm. So it was a completely different experience to come back here to Oak Ridge. A lot less expensive. The cost of living is a lot lower, and a very nice, high quality of life. Everybody is really friendly. Everybody tries to work constructively, to make good things happen for this town. Oak Ridge is also going through a lot of changes right now. There's a lot of growth. You may have read that towns like Knoxville, southern cities like Nashville and Knoxville are experiencing a tremendous amount of growth. And Oak Ridge is benefiting from that. The cost of real estate is going up. So that we're at an interesting juncture here, and I decided to just try to get involved in my old community and see where that goes. And that's what I'm doing now.
So, Ram, so let us talk about a little bit about your expertise. You are very good in advocacy. I learned a lot of about communication skills. I learned from you. Let me ask you, advocacy is in healthcare. I'm going to address the healthcare part of it. You can extend any way you like it. But that's the biggest challenge. The advocacy so a lot of patients, a lot of population in general, they're lost. The patient advocacy is not there, and there is a lot of mistrust of the healthcare system. And even their good systems are there, they have a problem communicating that kind of a advocate. And also the doctors associations, for example, they have multiple associations, and then the advocacy is a challenging for all these associations, and healthcare is fragmented. How do you put advocacy for the healthcare of this country? Because you understand the national point of view. Tell us a little bit about the advocacy. How do people do the advocacy? Where to start, actually?
That's a very difficult question. I mean, right now it seems like we have a healthcare system and nobody's happy, and that's often the case. Policymakers receive a lot of grievances. People are always complaining to their elected officials, and sometimes, like you said, when there's no trust, when there's no consensus about what the right way is to go forward, it looks like everything is stuck. It looks like nothing can happen. And how do you establish that trust relationship? Everybody wants to go to the healthcare system and complain. And policymakers, I'm sure they have their hands full of complaints. So in my experience, I haven't necessarily worked in the healthcare field, but I've worked in the juvenile justice reform area, and I worked in housing policy, obviously. So human services and housing policy. And it's similar. These are very complex issues. So everybody always wants something from the politicians. And nobody is really happy with the status quo in any of these complex systems. I have found that getting to solutions is really what the challenge is. And advocates who come to policymakers with problems, policymakers already have a million problems that they're trying to deal with.
Yeah.
Advocates who come to policymakers with solutions, that's the kind of advocate that when you work on the staff of a politician, that's the kind of advocate that you like to see come through the door. Because you get so many that come through with problems and they want you to fix their problems,
That is an excellent point. Yeah, excellent
But
point.
the ones that come through the door that say, hey, I think I have a solution and I can help you get the votes to pass this particular solution. Those are the ones that are really interesting to work with. So advocates who come with some kind of positive idea, not just a complaint or a grievance, not just with a problem, because these politicians have a million problems. But the ones that come with a solution, the solution-oriented advocates tend to be the ones that the politicians and their staff, they're happy to see those folks come through the door.
Let us talk about that. Physicians now, we talked about the patient advocacy is a missing big piece. Let us talk about the physician advocacy. They were all complaining about burnout. Right now, there is a huge problem about burnout. I don't see any cohesive way they are talking with the national level, any cohesive way there is a burnout system, and then organization levels. How do you put a national policy and promote that, and then all of them push forward to this advocacy for the physicians? What do you suggest as a consultant? If I ask you, actually, by the way, the another gentleman, American Association of Physicians of Indian origin, is from Telugu, similar like background as he became a president. Now he needs to find the advocacy for the doctors. How do you find this advocacy to the doctors' grievances and solutions, as you say? You gave an excellent point. That is, they need to come up with the solutions that is acceptable to the public itself. So tell us a little bit, how do these fragmented people come back with a cohesive policy and say present it to the policy makers? It's a big challenge, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least 50% of advocacy, maybe 90% of advocacy, especially in a fragmented government, which I would say we live in a fairly fragmented times, then most of these professional associations, doctors associations or Telugu doctors associations, really they spend all of their time to prevent damage. They're in damage control mode. And you have your allies in Congress or in the state legislature or wherever. And really what you are looking to them to do, not to necessarily solve the problem, just don't hurt me. Don't let anything happen that would be adverse to my interests. And for that, I'll give you campaign contributions. I'll be very happy to support you politically, but please don't let any harm befall me. And that's fine. That's a defensive strategy. And most advocacy organizations have to play a good deal of defense in order to survive. But what you're asking is a more interesting challenge, and it's the one I'm interested in, is how do you find solutions? How do you craft solutions? And I like to go to the furthest opposite end of the ideological extreme and find some interest group on the furthest opposite end of the ideological extreme from wherever it is that I am, and see if I can find something that we agree on.
How interesting.
If we can agree on something, if I can agree on something with somebody who's at the furthest opposite, and let's say I'm a Democrat, and I find like a Republican, and I can find something in common with the Republican, a way to advance this, you define the problem clearly, Dr. Burnout. And then you may have a set of solutions, I don't know, whatever your solutions are that you might have. You find a set of solutions that go to the heart of the matter, and you can find agreement on that set of solutions with somebody that is on the opposite end of the ideological spectrum from where you are, that they can agree on. That I like to try that just as
That
a
is a beautiful. I cannot agree anymore. That is a really good, because hospital management team is a very different, and then the physicians are there. They think they're bad. Each one are blaming each other. I think what you're saying is go to the extreme of that idea, and then she convince one point with them. And if we can convince one common ground, that will work out very well, just step by step, other than a radical approach. I want it my way, or otherwise I'm going to comply to the TV stations. That's all it's going to be. That's not going to solve the problems, right?
it may require that you rethink the problem. I mean, it may require that you have to kind of be willing to deconstruct the problem and
Yes.
and define it in a new way in order
Yeah.
to find a common ground. Like, for example, you would think that maybe there is no common ground between there. You can come up with any number of examples between organized labor and management. That's one example. Or between charter schools and the teachers union. You might
Yes.
find that there's nothing in common. But maybe take another look. Take another look. It turns out that charter schools were actually a concept that was developed within the teachers union. The teachers union was actually involved in creating the idea of charter schools. And it wasn't necessarily about non-unionized schools versus, public schools that are unionized. It was about something different. It was about an approach to education where there was actually a common ground between the union way of thinking and the kind of flexibility and autonomy that charter schools bring to the delivery of education. So maybe you have to take a problem like Dr. Burnout, and break it down and define it in a different way to find the common ground between, say, the physicians and, I don't know, the insurance companies or whatever.
Hospital management, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very good point. That is missing, actually, because they don't have the experience. A lot of times, advocacy experience. They need people like you to guide them. Actually, that's very important. The other thing that you are very good at it is communication. Let us talk about communication part of it. Just in general, communication is a I am a science communicator. I have an accent. Still, people like the program became popular because my communication of science. My job is to communicate science in simple terms. So it did stuck a code with them. So what is actually, I don't know what is secret behind it, but you tell us communication. What is the secret that people need to communicate? Because a lot of doctors and the hospital organizations, even their good doctors get a bad review sometimes. But why is that? And communication is a big challenge among doctors, in fact. And what are the tools, or what are the things you think communication people need to have?
My father was a mathematical statistician from Andhra. He was born in Machilipatnam.
Yeah.
And he went to Hindu college.
Yeah.
And then after Hindu college, he went to Andhra University, and he completed his master's in mathematics or statistics at Andhra University. And then he worked at Tata Institute for Fundamental Research for a few years. And then, I have an opportunity to go pursue my PhD in America at Indiana University. So he came to America, and then he had a 30-year career at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. But he was always full of interesting, fun observations. And one of his observations was, mathematics is easy.
Yeah.
Politics is hard.
Yes.
In America, we kind of think about things differently. We think, everybody has a political opinion about something, but math is hard. But to him, math was easy. Politics is hard. And, communication is hard. And what is it about communication that is hard? It depends kind of on how you define it. And it may not come naturally to us, although I'm about to say something that I don't really agree with. I'm about to say that communication may not be something that comes naturally to a scientific way of thinking, But in fact, I think that a scientific way of thinking and effective communication are rooted in the same place. Communication and a scientific way of thinking are both about the ability to connect, to make a connection. Communication is really about the ability to make a connection with another person. That's what communication is. And it's using language, the structure, the way you break down and present a set of ideas in order to make a connection. But the ultimate essence of communication is the ability to make a connection. That's why communicators often say, tell a story,
Yes,
because
that's
stories,
exactly I'm coming there. Tell a
yeah,
story.
find a way to tell your story. Tell your story in a compelling way. Be authentic and be honest about what your story is, and tell it in a way that's very human and vulnerable and recognizable. I mean, everybody can recognize human and vulnerable because everybody is human and vulnerable on some level. So, and when you feel vulnerable, of course, that's what makes you kind of recognize the humanity of a story. The vulnerability of that's revealed by the story is kind of what makes you connect to it.
Yeah.
So the
I
essence
am
of
going to tell a story now. Let me. Oh, this is. Let me get it. I got it. It's a new thing. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to tell a story. So let's go. Keep talking. I am keep talking. That's. I'm just working on these new things. That. Yeah. Tell us. Communicate. As you said, telling a story is always, even in science, is very important. Is not.
it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate. I mean, I was just listening to a presentation today about an environmental education program. And they were talking about how they take kids out into the field and they teach them about basically how to begin to think scientifically, how to apply the lessons of botany or zoology to plant and species differentiation, for example. And then, to take that work, sit down and actually do the work, do the analysis, apply the principles of botany or zoology to whatever it is that you experience out in the field, and bring that science back to your bench and develop a report. But then the third aspect, so first you have to understand the science and make the observation, do the report. Then the final aspect is, well, how do you report that out? How do you communicate that? What is the relevant? How do you, and science communication is an essential part of the communicating the results of your finding. Is an essential part of the scientific enterprise, the way it was described today. And I thought that was really nice. I liked the way that they made it, the actual communication, an integral part of the whole scientific enterprise.
Yes.
Um, it's important to kind of get down to that point of what did this scientific examination teach me? What did I learn from that? What's the essential lesson that I learned from that I want to communicate out? And then to basically start with that. This is the thing that I learned from this, and then go backwards. How did I learn? How to build backwards.
Everybody is talking about mathematics. Everybody is scared of calculus. So, when I was kid, I heard that Newton invented the calculus. He called his opponent, Leibniz. He called him a bitch. That I remember. He called him a bitch. That what are you talking about? He created a curiosity for me why he called him bitch. So that was really try to learn calculus, in a way that is a great interest in me, interested for those kind of things. So telling a story is a very powerful way of giving, even in the science, the most powerful concepts, complicated concepts you can communicate. That's one of them. I'm going to communicate with you. You're going to participate and then see any comment, anything you have any experience from Princeton, you can share with it here. But but I'm going to present to you. That's Ram Uppuluri. He's a very good dear friend and from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. So you're going to stay there on the side, and I'm going to show you the psychedelics, new frontier of medicine. It is really fascinating field. Um, So that is a Oak Ridge that I went to. She is his mother. That is actually I want to show. That is the Ramapuluri's mother. There, that's a picture from Oak Ridge. I don't know whether he remembers or not. That is a Manhattan project. I'm in front of the behind my picture. First one is a Manhattan project, and that is now grounded. That is where the atom bomb was created. So this is my story that I saw. I'm glad to visit Ram at the time. So educational purpose only. I'm not a doctor. Don't follow anything. It is a for entertainment and education only. So let me talk about that a little bit about psychedelics. You know, there's a story appeared on Medium. Her name is Erin Boltzweiler. Boltzweiler. She's from Seattle, Washington, and then she was diagnosed with the stage 4 breast cancer. And then she has 2 kids, and she was consumed by dying thoughts every day. So she has a physician. That is a sad story to start with, but she's not living any quality life. She's worried about her children. So she has a doctor, Sunil Agarwal. The doctor wants to prescribe a psilocybin, a psychedelic drug, to treat this dying thoughts, to stop it. But according to the they said that it is a Schedule 1 drug. You cannot prescribe. It is a definition of this. They have no currently accepted medical use in treatment in the United States. They have potential to abuse. So that is a definition of the Schedule 1 drug. So you cannot prescribe. So what she did was she went to the federal court. She went to the judicial district 9, and she the Trump administration passed a law called a right to try. You can at the end of the life you can try everything, but all the organizations, they are nervous about it. So rightly so. So it's a very complex subject. But she filed a lawsuit in the Seattle along with the Dr. Kumar, Sunil Agarwal, Dr. Sunil Agarwal. That is the still case pending. We don't know the results yet, but there's a lot of changes happened after that. So there is a not only Erin Botchweiler, but there is a huge mental health crisis going on. We don't know what the results are, what the reasons are. The entire world is going through technology pressures, economic pressures. It is a maybe processed food, whatever it is. We are going through a huge mental health care crisis. We don't have enough resources to solve this problem. Every country needs this humongous resources for mental health problems right now. So economic wave, when compared to the economic waves, mental health wave crisis is the biggest one. It is costing a lots of money, lots of resources to the world itself. So we need to address the medical industry. So a lot of times we don't have tools. We have a very limited tools for the mental health thing. So one of the thing is psychedelics. What people were thinking about psychedelics is called DMT. Then you have ayahuasca. The Indians use ayahuasca. Then for psilocybin is the mushrooms, drawn from the mushrooms. So there are several classes of ketamine. They're all the same kind of family kind of psychedelic drugs, mind altering drugs. So there could be potential solution, they thought. In the beginning, they started that way, but there was a lot of objections came out, and it was dropped. What is the biggest challenge is there is a lot of the potential benefits are you can solve the depression. I'm going to play a video for you guys so that you know why it is so powerful. And then it can post-traumatic syndrome, PTSD, traumatic brain injury, then all other cases, addiction, for example, and then stroke rehabilitation. All of them are very useful in that sense. But there is a negative effects there also, that some people have this hyper hallucinations keep coming back. So some gateways are open. They think some people think it's gods and aliens, and some people psychedelic. There's psychedelic episodes that come back. So it's kind of a challenging that there is a lot of negative effects on the hallucination aspect of it. So I wanted to play. Let me just if I can. I'm going to play a video from John Hopkins that I'm going to bring it to you guys. Let me play that. Yeah. This is the, oh, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, let me bring it back. My this one that my source, my ad source. Let me presentation. Let me bring the. There's a new thing they did that, and I'm working on it still. Where is the presentation? Okay. So yeah, I don't know what happened. I have to move a few steps. So John Hopkins did a lot of research. They're frontier in the frontal side of the. They are on. They did a lot of they're doing a lot of quite a bit of research in the psychedelic area. University of New York is doing, then Langone Hospital. So that is the, but there is a yeah, so there is a lot of benefits there. And then now there is a new kind of a drugs. You can take the non-hallucinogenic, you can take the hallucinogenic part about. They're really, they're kind of a refining the psychedelic drugs with the new kind of thing. They put a $1.95 billion, almost $2 billion investment is going on the new drugs. They take the non-hallucinogenic drugs. These are all, there is no hallucinogenic effect there. So these companies are funded, so they're coming up with the new drugs to take out the hallucinogenic part of hallucinogens out of the system. So that is a good. So there is a lot of new drugs are coming up. The 20 drugs or so in this area. They're working on it. One of them is seaport, and those are the things. Psychedelic drugs with the non-hallucinogenic drugs. So, but one puzzle, there is a puzzle. The puzzle is they could not understand, John Hopkins in the beginning, is that just one dose of psilocybin, which is a psychedelic, is drawn from the mushrooms. The psilocybin, one dose of psilocybin is stopping the depression for some people. They couldn't understand. Most of these patients on the years and years on several medications, resistant depression, and they stopped it. That is, how do you explain scientifically that part? That is, that was a big challenge, and we needed a woman to rescue. Her name is her name is Yeah. So she came on the rescue. Gul Dolan, her name. She's a Turkish-born woman. She came up with a brilliant idea. What she did was that her experiments she did through experimentation she did is that the psychedelic drugs open the critical periods of learning. When you, like a baby, so certain periods, critical periods when you're learning, there were certain very limited period. It's not like forever. It's a very young age. The critical periods are open to learn to walk, learn to speak, learn to talk. All of them are learn to bicycle. These are all critical periods. These are all open up and close. So what she found out is that through my mouse experiments with the mice, that psychedelic, the MDMA particularly, is opening the critical periods. That is a fact. So basically, if you're taking a human, you're taking him to the childhood days, very impressionable age. If you have a stubborn boss, you can give the MDMA and then take him and make him listen to the new concepts. So this is the taking your brain, your little brain, and then to transport it back into the childhood days, impressionable age. So this MDMA, the psychedelic drugs are opening the critical periods. That is a stunning revelation. She found out Gul Dolan. She's a MD. She's a doctor. She's a PhD from MIT. So what the critical periods can do? What they found out in the critical period is that if you have a depression, for example, that psychedelics open the critical period, but that's not enough. It is what she found out was that during that one you have to teach them. You need to do therapy, because if you don't do the therapy during the critical period time, it is not going to work. Cocaine actually, if you take illegal drugs like cocaine, it does a similar effect, but it doesn't open the critical period. So these psychedelics are opening the critical period, and then you take them and give them a therapy. You have to learn same time. That's a learning curve. So you have to teach them. You have to do therapy. That's a very important. She emphasizing that. So that is where the psychedelics play very important role in that sense. So you can change the depression, for example. You can wipe it out once and for all, because impressionable age, you don't need that stays there forever, for your lifetime. That's one of the things. So psychedelics without hallucinogenic effect, for example, loneliness is the biggest challenge now for the people. Loneliness is the biggest challenge. So how do you do that? Loneliness, this is one of the epidemic actually. So what they're doing is we don't know that we found out later on in the research, social rewards. When we interact with other people, our oxytocin levels, serotonin levels goes up. Social rewards, that's even the scientists did not believe that. So when you mix with the social people, with the friends, your serotonin level goes up, your oxytocin level goes up, and you will really feel better. The depression goes down. Loneliness is one way to do that is giving MDMA, something like that, with the psychedelic drugs. And then, so you have to create a context. It opens the critical period, but it doesn't, if you open a critical period and if they don't meet anybody, it goes back to the normal. So you have to create that, a meetup group or something like that. They need to actively involve during the process. So the loneliness, that's one way to combat this humongous loneliness among the older adults. The second, the stroke victim. This is a PD. Sorry, let me go back to the. So traumatic brain injury and PTSD. So Dr. Nolan Williams is from actually South Carolina, from Charleston. There is a big military base there. He was there. He moved to Stanford now. He was using the ibogo is a Central African plant, a shrub actually. He derived a medicine, the compound called ibogen, and then he administered and gave amazing results. Unbelievable results came out from that drug. So it is Norman Williams from Stanford University that did that. These are all very highly reputable people doing the research on this. Then this is a very stunning to me. They take ayahuasca. There is a drug called from ayahuasca, hermine. I think it is a compound from the ayahuasca you draw, and then combined with Ozempic and any weight loss, the diabetic drug, they can cure diabetes. They're increasing the 700% increase in the insulin production in the beta cells. It is making 700% increase in the beta cells insulin production. Can you believe that? This is a City of Hope in Los Angeles. They did this research. So if you take a psychedelic and a Ozempic combination, don't follow me. This is education. You have to talk with the doctor. It's a very experimental stage. These are all right now. So that really reversed the diabetes and cured the diabetes. In fact, that is a stunning revelation. Is the effect of the psychedelics with the Ozempic. The next one, the stroke victims. Then I don't know whether I did that. This is the. So let us talk about the consciousness. The stroke. Actually, I did the stroke victim. I don't know whether I have it or not. But stroke victims also, if you do that, I hope I didn't miss a stroke. Yeah, yeah, I think I missed. Stroke victims, for example, they can open the critical period and teach them how to learn and walk, how to talk, all those things. You can do that. So that is also good usage of the psychedelic drugs with the rehabilitation, stroke rehabilitation. So the consciousness is our biggest, the hard problem of consciousness is the problem. So the brain and mind are the two different ones, or same emergent property. Mind is an emergent property. Who we are. A lot of times we all think we give a big credit to ourselves with the big brains we have. In fact, is it the brain itself? The big brain is playing a role. That is Guldolan did a research that is shaking the foundations. I tell you what she did. What she did was, yeah, the experiments with the octopus. Octopus experimental was, octopus has no frontal cortex. There's no brain. So it has a brain, different kind of way. Central cortex is not there. There is no amygdala. There is no cerebellum. Cerebellum. There is nothing. But the octopus exhibits human-like behavior, self-aware. It sleeps, it dreams, and then it uses a trickery, for prey. It acts like a friend and then grab them. So it is all human-like behavior. It exhibits the octopus. So this is a very astonishing. So without the brain, what she's saying that maybe few cells are the key to the our consciousness. Maybe maybe few cells create a human, who we are, what I am, where I am. All these things, they create a few cells are creating that is identity of you. So that is a really interesting concept. Along with these lines, that means then there is a different research went on in the sideway in the same time. This is a two, Edward and David Moser. They are the Norwegian professors of Kavli Institute of Neuroscience, Cognitive Science, and System Science. They won the Nobel Prize in 2014. What they found is that 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 in brain there is a cells, neurons. Some of the cells, they have a grid cells and place cells. They have a cognitive spaces. They create a navigation in the brain. If you want to meet somebody, that is like a GPS system created in the brain, grid cells and place cells. So these are the particular cells create this navigation part of it. Thought itself probably a cognitive space, a geometrical shape. So that is an amazing in that sense. That is they won the Nobel Prize for that. Then then there is a time cells. How do you know how the mind can tell time passed? So let me tell you how they found out the time passing. Yeah, her name is Laila Reddy. She's from the sorry, this is my computer is acting slow a little bit. uh, yeah, so Laila Reddy, she's from the Toulouse, France, and then she was a cognitive research scientist, and she found out there is a time cells. What the neurons, they fire at different times, different frequencies. They fire each other, and then you can tell the time. How the brain knows what time passing time. You put a tea on the kettle on the stove. How much time is passing? How do you know? She says that the intermittent firing of the neurons, it gives you the time frequency, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. They fire the neurons, and it gives you the time concept in the brain. So Laila Reddy is the cells may be the future. Very few cells may have this power of you defining you, not the entire brain. Possibly not. Possibly that is at least who you are and what you are, where you are, when you are. All of them are basically maybe a few cells in the brain defines us. Very few cells. So that is a research going on. It is a fascinating research. So it is a psychedelic research. It is a really very fascinating research, a powerful arsenal we have now for the mental health, because we don't have a lot of tools for the to deal with mental health problems. Now we can explore brain, mind, spirituality, even religion. So all of them are, there is something that we can do through the psychedelic experiences. These new drugs are creating, that this power of understanding about us and our mind. Thank you for listening. And sorry, I had some technical problem today. I got the new system, and then sorry about that. But I hope you liked it. Let me bring the my friend Ram back to the stage. Let me take this one. Okay, 1 second. I don't know why it is. Okay, just let me. They have to change. Hide. Okay. Okay. Ram, what do you think of it? It is a. Ram, can you hear me?
Yes,
So, what do you think of it?
I think
Oh,
it's so powerful.
yeah.
I think it's so powerful that um, I think it's so powerful that this the effect of trauma on DNA. I'm curious about that. The effect of trauma on our on our programmed experience as human beings.
Yeah.
I think there is some indication that that can be very damaging. That that trauma itself can have an effect that looks like an effect on DNA. I mean, that
Sure.
it can affect you almost genetically, if not actually genetically. And I think the counter to that, the opposite of that, is the effect of opening your mind, either through the use of these psychedelic drugs, or perhaps there are other ways to open one's mind.
Correct.
Um, can have a similar counter effect on the actual DNA of a person. I mean, have a transmutative effect on the human being. I think that's such an amazing concept, that the mind is so powerful that it actually can produce um, physical change, that the mind can actually produce physical change. This is such a fascinating area of scientific inquiry. It's just so
Yeah,
amazing.
it is. So what, yoga, meditate. Actually, I'm going to present another topic next time, not in the future. That actually, what are the other alternatives for the psychedelics without using drugs? Yoga, meditation, and virtual reality, neurofeedback. There's a new kind of technologies that are available without using all these, even the substances. So that is another area that, for example, a lot of people can simulate that psychedelic experience through yoga, meditation. So tell us a little bit about your yoga experience. The You became a yoga teacher. Congratulations. Tell us a little bit
No, I'm
about that.
still studying. I'm still doing my yoga teacher training. I have a long way to go before I feel confident taking somebody into a posture and then back out. I'm afraid I'm about halfway there, so I might be able to get you into a posture, but I might not be able to get you out. So better for me not to try it at this point. No, it's been great. Can I just say one thing? I had an interesting experience yesterday. I went to the dentist.
Yeah. Okay.
I just had a checkup. And last year, I was experiencing a lot of stress. And I went to a new dentist here in Oak Ridge for the first time. And they said, oh, well, my gums, the gums are receding. And so we performed a series of cleanings and just, cleaning under the gum, just good dental hygiene. So over the last year, every few months I go and I have had a procedure. And then yesterday I went for a checkup after 1 year. And they said that my gums have experienced remarkable regeneration since last year. that my gums have actually regenerated more than they had receded in the previous year. So I thought that was really interesting. I thought, well, what can stress cause your gums to, recede? What I said to the oral hygienist was, you can tell a lot about a person's general health by their oral health. You can tell a lot about a person's general health by their oral health. Like a lot of times, your oral health is an indication of your general health. And so as your general health improves, your oral health also improves. And I thought that was interesting. I'm a lot less stressed than I was last year. I've been practicing yoga regularly this year. I've been losing some weight and just generally practicing better. I stopped drinking alcohol and other things, other intoxicants. So my overall health is definitely better, and it's manifesting in my oral health, which I think is very interesting.
So tell us a little bit, how do you do in the weekends? And you go to the mountains, Smoky Mountains. You're not that far from Smokies, right? So you what do you do in the weekends in Oak Ridge?
Well, if I'm not here in Oak Ridge, if I'm here in Oak Ridge, I go to the farmer's market. I go to my yoga class. I walk my dog. I prepare for the week. I do some things around the house. I'm still cleaning out the house because my parents lived here for 50 years. My mother lived here for 50 years. So I'm still slowly getting rid of things. I've been traveling to Asheville, North Carolina, to explore the arts and the culture and the restaurants and the music and the yoga scene in Asheville.
That is a psychedelic town.
Great town. It's a great town. And they're really interested in a lot of these concepts, like, psychedelics and, also yoga and all kinds of spiritual practices.
Great restaurants. They have great restaurants also
that are connected to just general improvement in overall health. So yeah, I'm feeling really good about life. And this is a beautiful part of the country. You should come back and visit. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Ram. It is a privilege to know you. I know you for a long time. You're a dear friend of me. Anytime I call you all the times, bother you, any questions, we always exchange views. That's the way we can really understand the world itself better, what other people think from a different parts of the backgrounds. So that's the way your input is always helpful to me. Your communication areas I learned from you. Thank you so much, Ram. Really, your father and mother, your mother is an extraordinary woman, late mother, and your father is my hometown heroes there from my tribe of mathematics and physics. So it's as always, you're close to me. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate what you're doing with this show, bringing such profound ideas, into a general discussion. It's so really beautiful to observe. So thank you for including me. Thank you all. Thank you. Good night, all of you. All right.
We are retelling their story through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it.